Uh, Good morning, everyone. We are on to our class number 13, I believe. We have two more lectures of video lectures to finish off. That is, by next week, same time, probably that would be our last lecture, at least the video lecture. Uh, Let me just finish off where we, let me just start off where we finished off last time. We looked at few things on consolidation. And I'm going to, just recap what we have covered up in the last 1 hour, the last class. We looked at consolidation. Okay. We said we will only look at the consolidation settlement, which is usually represented by SC. The total settlement, we said consolidation settlement is a part of the total settlement. Let me call this as S. So as total settlement should include the elastic settlement or the immediate settlement plus the consolidation settlement plus the secondary consolidation settlement. The secondary consolidation is usually, we can write this as creep. The one we were interested in is SC, consolidation. Okay. We also looked at a second term we called as OCR, over consolidation ratio. We said this is a ratio of the maximum stress the soil has experienced in its past, in its history, to the current stress. So usually OCR is for vertical stress, we put a suffix V. Okay, but there is nothing stopping you for taking an average of vertical and horizontal stress both in the numerator and the denominator. So there are people who work on the average as well. The second, or I must say the next definition was the compression index CC, which was again a dimensionless parameter of change in void ratio to the log of sigma 2 prime by sigma 1 prime. And we said sigma 2 prime is an additional component other than sigma 1 prime. So sigma 1 prime, if it's the in situ stress, let me call this as sigma 0 prime in case it's normally consolidated. So sigma 2 prime will be sigma 1 prime plus the delta sigma prime. It's the change. So I could have written the denominator as log of sigma 1 prime plus delta sigma prime over sigma 1 prime. Okay, that was the log over there. Okay, the next definition we looked at was, let me just see if I can use this space over here. The next definition we looked was coefficient of compressibility. And the usual representation is AV. AV was very similar to CC, but the scale is not log scale. The horizontal or the abscissa scale is not log. So AV is delta E over delta sigma prime. Remember, we always take prime, effective stress, because consolidation is dependent on the effective stress, not the total stress. The next definition was coefficient of volume compressibility. Okay, coefficient of volume compressibility had a symbolic representation of M suffix V, which was again defined as AV divided by 1 plus E naught. If you recall, 1 plus E naught is a representation of the volume, the initial volume. Okay, having done that, we also looked at 4 expressions or equations for settlement. Computation of consolidation settlement. Okay, recall we said this is SC. So we have 4 expressions, and the first expression we said is the mother of all expressions, because all the other 3, the remaining 3 have been solved or derived based on this particular fellow. So SC was the change in void ratio over the original volume times the total thickness. Remember, H is the total thickness. It will always be the total thickness of the layer. Okay. The second one or let me just put it as 2. SC was a similar expression, but in this case the void ratio was replaced by, if you recall, we had AV equals to delta E over delta sigma prime. So void ratio AE in this expression was replaced by AV times delta sigma prime. So SC equals to AV over 1 plus E0 E0 times delta sigma prime times H. Okay, this led us to the third expression. The third expression was again AV over 1 plus E0 is MV. So we have MV times, or the coefficient of volume compressibility, times delta sigma prime times H. Okay, and the fourth one, the last one, was in terms of CC. If you recall, we said CC equals to delta E over log of, this is log to the base 10, mind you, it's base 10, log of sigma 2 prime over sigma 1 prime. So I had a similar expression. I can replace delta E in the first equation by these two fellows over here. So I get CC over 1 plus E0 times H times this log value. And remember, log sigma 2 is sigma 1 prime plus the change divided by sigma 1 prime. Okay, I think we stopped somewhere here when we had to look at the Terzaghi's one-dimensional consolidation theory. So I'll go back to the slides, the PPTs which were uploaded the last time. Is it this one? Okay, thank you. Okay, let me just skip one slide, go back one slide. Oh, okay. We stopped somewhere here and we said, we also looked at this, if this is the current void ratio, the starting void ratio, and you're looking at a change such that the final void ratio is somewhere here, and as a homework task I had asked you to look at this. I hope you had spent some time to look at this equation over there. Okay, let me go back to today's task. Today's task is to look at Terzaghi's one-dimensional consolidation equation. Okay, now we will not go into derivation of the equation. Usually in our class over here we do the derivation, but for convenience I'm going to skip this derivation for our today's meeting, our today's lecture. Let me just first look at the assumptions which are made and explain these assumptions quickly. Explain the assumptions. The assumptions of Terzaghi's one-dimensional consolidation theory is the first one. The clay is assumed to be homogeneous. Okay, so homogeneous is true. So meaning all the properties in any of the three directions are the same. That's homogeneous for us. And saturated. Of course, consolidation only works when the soil is saturated. The second one is drainage occurs at the top and bottom of the layer. So if I take an example of this particular layer, that's the top of the layer, that's the bottom of the layer. The drainage will occur both at the top and the bottom. So if I want to use this Terzaghi's initial, the cylindrical model which he took for a demonstration purpose, in that cylindrical model the perforated plates are both at the top as well as bottom. We will look at a case when the perforated plates are only at one-sided, but the general solution is when the perforated plates are both at top and bottom. That's a general solution. The third one is Darcy's law is valid. This is true, okay, meaning you can't violate Darcy's law. Soil grains and water are incompressible. Okay, of course the rigidity or the stiffness of these two soil grains alone and water alone is many times greater than the rigidity or the stiffness of the entire soil mass. Okay, please understand this. The soil mass has a much lower rigidity compared to the rigidity of grains and water individually put together. The next one is the compression and flow is one dimensional, meaning the flow can only occur in one direction. Okay, and likewise settlement can only occur in one direction. Just to highlight this point, both compression, that means the settlement, and the flow, let me just put flow is akin or similar to consolidation, both are directly related. That is what this statement would invariably mean. The next one, strains are small. So we speak about infinitely small strains in this direction. You can't use the we would use Terzaghi's theory, for computation of consolidation settlement. The last one is there is a unique linear relationship between change in void ratio and the change in effective stress. This is true. Okay. So if I solve for the Terzaghi's one-dimensional consolidation equation, I get this as a solution. Let me zoom in. Okay, that's the Terzaghi's 1D consolidation equation, which is CV equals to, okay, I'm sorry, I'm looking at this, CV times delta U by del T. That is the solution to Terzaghi's equation, where CV is again a new term coming in. I would like you to get your paper and pen out and write down what is CV. CV is the coefficient of consolidation. Okay, it should have dimensions of meter square per year, or meaning meter square can be either be centimeter square per second or per minute. So that is the usual dimension or the units it has. CV by definition is equals to K, so that's soil permeability divided by unit weight of water times the inverse of MV. If you look at this whole thing is the inverse of MV over here. Okay, so sometimes I can calculate my soil permeability from CV times gamma W times this whole value, which is MV. Okay, so we'll use a definition of MV when we do a problem today. We'll do a problem sheet with at least 1 or 2 questions today. So solutions to this equation, I would say there are number of persons have tried this solution to this, and this being equation of second order partial differential equation, it has no I would say it has only an approximate solution, and one of the approximate solution was given by Taylor. Okay, and we use in almost all the textbooks we use this approximate solution, which is a solution of expansion of Fourier series. We will look at only the solution by looking at the boundary conditions. Let's look at the boundary condition. Okay, it's listed down over here, and most of these boundary conditions are for us to something we understand, or we understand very clearly. The very first one is at when time t equals to 0. Obviously when time is 0, no consolidation has started, meaning U, which is the excess pore pressure. Okay, excess pore pressure would mean pressures other than the hydrostatic. They all are excess pore pressure exists everywhere. So they all exist everywhere. When t is infinity, that means long time, when t is infinity or long time when consolidation is started, all excess pore pressures are 0 everywhere. So I would say the first 2 statements are just for us to very well understand what this is about. The next one, at z equal to 0, that means the top drainage layer or the top boundary or the surface which is very much in contact with, say, a sand layer. We're looking at consolidation of clay. So the top surface is the Z equal to 0 and Z equal to 2H. This is the bottom surface. Okay, the excess pore pressure is 0 for all values of T which are non-zero, meaning moment the consolidation starts, that means when T is non-zero, the excess pore pressure at the boundaries becomes 0. Obviously, this is for us to, understand that the drainage occurs near the boundary, immediately near the boundary. It is similar to the Terzaghi's tank which he carried for demonstration purpose. In this case, capital H is the maximum distance which the water will have to travel. Okay, we will look at this right now. This capital H is not the same as the capital H which we have used for settlement calculation. Okay, many of our students, they mix up the two. Unfortunately, we are using the same symbol for derivation of settlement and the derivation of the drainage path. Okay, now a question comes, why would we do that? It's a good question, and in fact I don't have an answer. Some of the silly engineers way back, decades back, they should have changed this symbol to a different symbol. It would have made our life much easier. But we will look at the difference when we do a problem sheet. For the time being, visualize that this H is different and it is the maximum distance the water would have to travel, okay, to reach the drainage level. So the solution to Terzaghi's is given in terms of this chart. Okay, let me zoom out please. Is given in terms of this chart over here. Now this chart gives a vertical axis is the dimensionless depth. Okay, we will look, this is dimensionless depth, so it varies from 0 to 2. The horizontal axis is the consolidation, degree of consolidation, how much of consolidation is over. Let me just zoom in. Okay, that's the figure over there. I hope this is rather more clear. So the horizontal axis I said is consolidation. How much is consolidation is over at any point. Remember, this figure is only valid for any point, not for the entire layer. So when you look at this figure, it shows at what point how much of consolidation is over. So from 0 to 1, it means the first is a straight line over here. Immediately when consolidation starts, the top is the drainage boundary, the bottom is the drainage boundary. So immediately when T is 0, excess pore pressure is 100%. So it belongs to line 1. When T is non-zero, meaning the second curve immediately shoots to the boundary, it becomes 0. Remember, the excess pore pressure near the boundary is 0, and the bottom, if bottom is also a boundary, sorry, it is also 0. So the second curve in fact is shown as capital T equals to 0.05, where capital T in some textbooks it may be written as capital T, in some textbooks it may be written as TV, and because I am a confused person, I have zapped a figure which shows T over here, but I am using an equation which shows TV. Apologize for this. This TV is the same as T over there, and this TV is defined as, it's a dimensionless time, is defined as CVT upon H square. Remember, H is the maximum distance the water has to travel. T is the time. It can be years, months, days, anything. And CV is the coefficient of consolidation. We have just looked just a couple of slides back. So TV, I must say TV, and on this line is 0. TV is 0, and the first line when TV is 0.05 is over here, and likewise TV increases to any value, okay, and somewhere over there TV should be infinity. Okay, it should be infinity. So we have a normalized depth, correlation over here, and a normalized time, which is TV or T, which is written in this figure. Okay. So this figure will help us to determine how much of consolidation is over or how much of excess pore pressure remains at any point. So I have to just choose a point somewhere here, and the horizontal axis will tell me how much is consolidation is over. Remember, this figure is only at a point, but many of our engineers are not interested in at a point. Remember, as a practicing engineer, I would be interested in what is the average degree of consolidation of my entire layer, say a 10-meter layer, a 7-meter layer, not at any point within the layer. Okay. So for an average degree of consolidation, we are normally recommended two equations. For an average degree of consolidation less than equal to 60%, TV equals to pi by 4 U average square. Remember, this U average in the first equation is in ratio. If I am happy to make it in percent, I would just divide this by 100 into a whole square. Okay, this is ratio. For U average more than 60%, TV is defined as 1.781 minus 0.933 log to the base 10 bracket 100 minus U average. Of course, this is 100 minus, so this U average should be in percent. So in second equation, I have taken U average as percent, but just for, just to understand that you can also have a ratio, the first equation is in ratio, but there's nothing which stops you for taking it from percent. I just need to divide this by 100 before taking the whole square. Okay. Now this average, U average equations, the two equations are valid when it's less than equal to 60% or more than 60%. It's important for us to remember these two equations. I would like you to take them as a tablet. Just take them. It's important, pretty important. And I would request that you jot down on the piece of paper. It would be helpful when we do a problem sheet today. Okay. So in many textbooks, rather than U average in equation, there are also design charts, I must say charts given for the average for the entire layer. Remember, the previous slide was for the entire layer. So there are design charts either available as TV versus U average or log of TV. So there's a log scale or square root TV. But I would not recommend that you use any one of these tables. They are just simply a plot of the equation which you have just jotted down on the previous slide. In some textbooks there is a table written or drawn. Again, I will not recommend that you use the table. It's better to use the average equations for the average degree of consolidation. Okay, we are on to our last slide before we do the PowerPoint, before we do the problem sheet. Remember, TV we said is CVT upon H square, and we are looking at vertical consolidation. So I put CV. Okay, just to satisfy my heart that we are looking at vertical consolidation. In this case, in case I'm looking at the same TV value for two different clay layers, meaning I take a laboratory sample over here, TV for laboratory, meaning if I have a laboratory sample, 20 millimeter thick laboratory sample, and I say this laboratory sample has reached 90% consolidation. Okay, so I would say TV for 90% consolidation is, if you go back, it's an easy number to remember. In fact, since I have spoken 90%, I like to highlight this. This number is 0.848. Okay, usually many of the practicing engineers like to remember this number. Okay, in fact, if I go to previous slide, I can plug in U average of 90 over there. I'll get TV of 0.848. Okay, let me go ahead. So that was the equation. So if I say, if someone asks me, this thick sample, 20 millimeter thick sample of a TV of 0.848, which corresponds to 90% consolidation, is this whole lot. Can I extrapolate that the whole clay layer at site, which is maybe 7 meter thick, the same 90% consolidation, how much time will it take? So I just equate TV from laboratory test to TV to field test. I have this expression over there, CV would be the same, assuming CV is for the entire layer remains the same. So I get T1 by H1 square equals to T2 by H2 square, meaning thickness of the lab sample H2 if it is H2. Now remember, H is the maximum drainage or maximum distance the water will have to travel to reach the drainage level. In lab test, if I have a single drainage, H2 would be thickness of the lab sample, meaning say 20 millimeters or 100 millimeters. However, if you have come across an odometer test in the lab, H2 would be half of the thickness, because in odometer test drainage is permitted both from top as well as bottom. So the water will have a choice to go top and bottom. Okay, I'll draw this using let me explain this using a figure. So if I have a lab test sample over here, and this whole thing is H, remember in laboratory test I may have a porous stone at the bottom and a porous stone at the top. This is my lab sample, and in the field this is my layer, so clay, and this is exposed to atmosphere. So I have a sun over here, so it's exposed to air, and bottom, let's say this is basalt rock. Okay, basalt rock, impervious rock. In this lab sample, the capital H would be half, because the center, water at the center of this layer has a choice to go either up or down, because drainage occurs in both directions. So the maximum distance the water will have to travel would be from middle to either up or bottom. So in this case, H2, we have taken H2 would be equal to H by 2. It's half of this thickness, right? Let's take this field example. The entire thickness, let me call this as H1. So in this case, the water, the maximum distance the water will have to travel would be from here. Remember, this is impervious. I cannot go down, so this is out. The only thing I have to travel is, I have to travel way to the top. So it's very difficult. It's the entire, so in this case, capital H equals to H1, the entire thickness of the layer. Okay, so if I have the equation CVT upon H square, and if I want to plug this equals to TV, if I want to plug H from lab, I would have H by 2. So this becomes CVT T2, let's call it T2 over H2 by 2 whole square. Okay, this equals to TV. And TV, we say if TV in the field is also same, that would be CV, again T, let's call it T1. I'm not sure how much time will it take, so T1 is different, over H1 whole square. Remember, it's H1 because the water has to travel the entire thickness. Okay, if you're still slightly confused over it, not to worry. We'll do a problem, we'll do questions, just in the next few seconds we'll do the questions. So I have uploaded, thank you, today's the 14th March, so here. Okay, I have uploaded the problem sheet on the screen. Let me right click and allow download. So it's problem sheet which consists of 3 questions. Okay, question 1, question 2, and the third one. Third one is on sheet. Okay, so It's next sheet. We'll attempt to do question 1 and maybe 2 as well. I will leave question 3 as a homework task. You can go home and try this. Remember, this chapter on consolidation is the most interesting chapter, and in fact over here we spend probably 3 or maybe 4 hours just to do problems. And I would sincerely request that when you go back home, please try as many problems as you can. It's important to understand these questions. So I'll put this question, I'll explain this question on the piece of paper. Is it okay? Is it clear? I can't see it from here. Clear? Yep, thank you. So that's question 1. I would not like you to copy this question, but please go through this question, read the question, and I'll explain this in the next few seconds. Please read this question, question 1. What it says is, there's an 8-meter thick clay layer with single drainage. Okay, so obviously 8-meter thick layer, single drainage, meaning capital H, which is the maximum distance the water will have to travel, is 8 meters. Okay, this is drainage path. So drainage path is 8 meter. It's settled by 120 millimeter in 2 years. So a time and a settlement is given. So 120 millimeters obviously is the average settlement of the entire clay layer. CV is given, coefficient of consolidation is CV is given. Okay, the question asked is, what is the likely ultimate settlement, the maximum settlement, okay, of this clay, and also find out how long it will take to 90% settlement. So let's do the first one. Just look at the first part. What is the maximum settlement? Okay, now for this one, let me just remove this sheet, please. Yeah, slowly, very slowly. Okay, I won't zoom in again. Thank you. Okay, so in this case, let me, oopsies. CV is given to us. Okay, CV is given 6 into 10 power minus 3 centimeters square per second. That's the value of CV. And it's given that T, time is 2 years, and the thickness or the drainage path is given as 8 meters. In this case, the thickness of the clay layer is the same as the drainage maximum distance the water will have to travel. So if I'm given a time T, my first bet to do such a problem is to calculate TV. Okay, TV, if you recall, we've just done is CVT upon H square. Okay, this implies TV equals to, CV is given as 6 into 10 power minus 3 centimeters square per second. So my time is in second times 2 years. I have to convert this into seconds. So 2 years into 365 days. Each day has 24 hours. Each hour has 60 minutes and then 60 seconds. So that whole thing is time. This whole thing is the numerator. Okay, divided by the H. Now H should be in centimeters because CV is in centimeters square per second. So H is in centimeters. So I have 8 meters. 8 times 10 to the power 2 makes it centimeter whole square. Okay. If I plug in my number, I get a TV of 0.5913. Okay. This is the time, dimensionless time, which corresponds to 2 years. Okay. So if this corresponds to 2 years, what should be my U average. Remember, it says average, U average. Now, I know what is U average from two equations. Remember, U average, if it is less than 60%, so less than 60% U average, I guess you had jotted down this equation. We had TV equals to pi by 4 into U average by 100 whole square. And if U average is more than 60%, and TV equals to 1.781 minus 0.933 log to the base 10 over 100 minus U average. Alright, so if this is TV, now I know my TV value is over here, but I'm not sure which of these two equations I have to use. Remember, these are for average of the entire clear layer. I do not know which of these two equations I can use. So I'll place a bet. Let me place a bet on the second equation, because TV looks like a bigger number to me. I would say the second equation. Let's try second equation and deduce what is the U average. Okay. So U average from second equation. Remember, we have in second equation TV equals to 1.781 minus 0.933 log to the base 10, 100 minus U average. In this case, TV is 0.5913. If I deduce TV of 0.95913 and deduce U average, it should come out to be, okay, where are we? It should come out to be 18.8, I'm sorry, 81.2%. Okay, 81.2%. So 81.2% is definitely more than 60%. So our bet was good. So it's okay. It was okay to use this equation over here. Okay. So it means 81.2% corresponds to 120 millimeter settlement. Okay. Now I'm going to make an important statement over here. The degree of consolidation is directly proportional to settlement. Meaning, if 100% consolidation is over, 100% settlement should be over. 50% consolidation, 50% settlement. 20% consolidation, 20% settlement. 81.2% consolidation would mean 81.2% settlement. If I have to deduce what is S max or ultimate settlement, S max or AC would not matter. So I just need to divide this by 0.812. Remember, 81.2% corresponds to 120 millimeter. So 100% would correspond to 120 divided by 81.2 times 100. So this should give you this number over here. If I plug in my numbers, I get 147.86 millimeters. Okay, that gives us the first one, ultimate settlement. Let me pull back the question again. The question says, what is the ultimate settlement? We have done that. And find out how long it will take for 90% settlement to occur. Okay, so 90%. So for 90% of this settlement, okay, U average should be, okay, make a guess, it should be 90%, right? So 90% settlement corresponds to 90% of U average. So in other words, now I have to work the other way. The equation, remember the equation of TV equals to 1.781 minus 0.933 log of 100 minus U average. In this case, I plug this 90% over here and get what is my TV. Okay, so TV is the dimensionless time. The question says how much time will it take. So my first step should be to calculate what is the dimensionless time. So TV for 90%, if you recall, we just a few minutes back we said 90% is an easy number to remember, it's 0.848. Okay. If you look at the table back again on the slide, TV corresponding to 100% is in fact infinity. Okay. It's a surprising number for you that you will it will take infinite time for 100% consolidation to occur. Okay. Now 90% is 0.848, and for most practical purpose many engineers are happy if the clay settles by 90%, they are quite happy about it. So if TV equals to 0.848, I know this equals to CVT upon H square, and the question is what is the value of T? So I have to deduce 0.848 equals to CV, which is 6 into 10 power minus 3 centimeters square per, sorry, it's per second I believe. Yes, centimeters square per second, that is 6 into 10 power minus 3. So this time will be second, and the thickness or the maximum drainage is 8 meters, so I have to convert this into centimeter. So this should give me my value of T in second. Your final answer, if you plug it in years, it comes out to be 2.87 years. All right. We still have about 15-16 minutes. I suggest we look at question number 2. I hope you're happy about it. Okay, the first one was a relatively easy question, but the second one is an interesting one, and it's going to take our next 15 minutes. Please understand the next question, please. Okay, it says it's a 5-meter thick clay layer which sits on impermeable boundary. So if I pause over here, my capital H is 5 meters. That's maximum drainage length which the water will have to travel. It's overlain by 3 meters of sand. Top of the sand is ground level, and at the ground surface there is 200 kPa of load, okay, at the surface. The water table is at 1.5 meter depth. The important thing, okay, is the pore pressures at the boundary are 242 kPa, meaning I had a transducer or some measurement device at the boundary, and the device gave me a value of 242.5 kPa after 18 months. Okay, that is the pore pressure. So it should include, this value should include the hydrostatic pore pressure, that's PP, as well as excess pore pressure. Remember, if I have a transducer way in the ground, buried in the ground, and this measures the pore water pressure, I cannot tell the pore water pressure that stop, you are from excess pore pressure, you can't move, and someone from hydrostatic, you can't move. The instrument will measure both things together. So it measures both hydrostatic as well as excess, which is 242.5 at 18 months. On 18 months, it's given the settlement is 230 millimeters. You are asked to find out the value of CV, CC, final settlement. Okay, and then if we have the time, we will also look at the last 3 points. Okay, at least I would say up here is something which I would like to do it today. Okay, so let me look at the solution. Yep. Okay, so it says, let me draw the figure first, it makes our life much easier. This is my clay layer and it says it's 5 meter thick clay. Above this is a 3 meter thick sand. The surface, on the surface we have 200 kPa of load. Okay, and the groundwater table is somewhere here. It's at in the middle, so it's 1.5 here, 1.5 here. That is the problem. And at the bottom you have impermeable layer. Right, that is the question which is given to us. It's given that after 18 months, the pore pressure at the impermeable boundary is U equals to 242.5 kPa or kilonewton per meter square. Okay, this should include the hydrostatic. This includes the hydrostatic. Okay, remember the question says 200 kPa was placed on the ground surface. So let's look at history of this site. So when 200 kPa was not placed, this clay layer was happily sitting over here. All of a sudden when 200 kPa was placed, the clay would have started to settle. So at the end of 18 months, the clay would have settled. Question says settled by where is it? I have to look at the number. 230 millimeter. Sorry, it settles by 230 millimeter after 18 months, and at the same time, or at anywhere along this boundary, somewhere at the bottom, the pore water pressure is 242.5, which was measured. So probably someone had a transducer or maybe a standpipe and measured the height of water at this level and then converted this height to pressure. You can do that if you know the unit weight of water. Okay, so I need to subtract the hydrostatic pore water pressure from this value. Remember this pore water pressure, if I at the bottom of this layer, immediately upon placing the load, at the bottom of the layer should be the excess pore pressure should be equal to 200 kPa immediately. Then gradually this excess pore pressure starts to dissipate. So from 200 it came down to a value after 118 months. Let us deduce this value. So excess pore pressure at boundary equals to 242.5 minus the hydrostatic. Hydrostatic is 5 meters over here and 1.5 meter over there. So minus of 5 plus 1.5 times 9.81. Okay. If you plug in your value, it gives you a number 178.74 kilonewton per meter square or kPa. This is the excess pore water pressure. Okay. At the boundary, at a point, at this point. So we are interested in a point. So let's look at the point. It says what is the degree of consolidation UZ. If UZ is the degree of consolidation, at that point, okay, remember excess pore pressures is 178.74. So how much of consolidation is over at that point? Remember I keep repeating at that point. You are interested in the point. So over would be 200 was there to begin with minus 178.74 which remains, and if I divide this by 200 times 100 it gives me in percent. What is the degree of consolidation which is over? It should be 10.6%, or if I just let it be in ratio, it's 0.106. Okay. So I know my degree of consolidation is 0.106. What is the capital Z, normalized Z? Taylor's solution said normalized Z was Z over the maximum distance the water has to travel. So let's look at this. So Z is measured from the top of the clay layer. Right? It's measured from here, not from the surface, not from anywhere. It will only be measured from the top of the layer which is undergoing consolidation. If you go anywhere, Terzaghi will not be happy. Please do not do that. It only starts from the top of the clay layer or the layer which is undergoing consolidation. So in this case, Z equals to, if I measure distance from here to the bottom, equals to 5 meters. What about denominator? It is the maximum distance the water will have to travel. So the maximum distance is from here, it will have to travel all the way up to here. Then only it meets the drainage boundary, which is a sand layer. So capital H is also 5. So can I say capital Z is 1, UZ is 0.106. So what is TV? Yep, TV, I need to look at TV from one of those curves, and I should be having those curves somewhere here. Yep. So we need to look at this figure. I'll quickly zoom this. We have 7 minutes remaining, and I believe we should be able to finish this off. Okay, it's zoomed in. The horizontal axis is your UZ, vertical axis is your capital Z. So in this case we say the capital Z is 1 and UZ is 0.106. So capital Z is 1, that's here. UZ is 0.1, this is 0.12, 0.14. So 0.106 should be somewhere here. So we're looking at a point somewhere here. Okay, somewhere here means it's in between 0.1 and 0.15. So it will be somewhere like this, a curve will be somewhere here. Let me say this curve, approximate curve would be between 0.1 and 0.15, and by eye judgment I say TV from curve equals to, let me say 0.13. Okay, so TV I know fits in CVT upon H square. Yeah, I'm zooming out quite slowly here because this equipment over here jumps pretty fast. Okay, that should be it. Okay, so TV equals to CVT upon H square. TV I have just deduced is 0.13. CV, the question asked is CV. What is the value of CV? Time is given as 18 months, so I convert this into years by dividing by 12. Okay, and what is H square? H is given as maximum distance the water will have to travel. It's 5 meters, 5 square. So it gives me a CV value of 0.13 times 5 square times 12 divided by 18. It should be 2.17 meters square per year. Okay, let's go back to the question. The question says, what is the value of CV, CC and the final consolidation settlement? Okay, now final consolidation settlement, let's look at final consolidation settlement first. I have just deduced a TV of 0.13. This is the time, a normalized time for 18 months. 18 months, let me write this thing down. Normalized time for 18 months. In 18 months, I know the amount settled by, it's given, the question is given, 230 millimeters, right? So this time, we said at this time, the pore pressure at the bottom of the layer was given as blah blah blah. We just have deduced this value. At the same time, the ground settled by 230 millimeters. So time TV is the same for average as well as for the point which is at the bottom of the layer. So can I use this TV in the equation for average degree of consolidation? Remember, average degree of consolidation, there were two expressions. One of them was TV equals to pi by 4 into U average by 100 whole square. The other expression was TV equals to 1.7, equals to into U average by 100 whole square. This gives me a U average value of 40.7%, which is okay because this equation is valid when U average is less than equal to 60%, so it's okay, right? So I know what is my U average, which is 40.7. It corresponds to 230 millimeter settlement. So if you recall a few minutes back, we said 100% average, 100% settlement, 50% average, 50% settlement. So in this case, 7% settlement. So what is the maximum settlement? CD, I have hidden that word. So ultimate settlement or the maximum S to D 230 divided by 0.407. If you plug in your number, it should give you 565.33 millimeters. Okay, that's maximum settlement. The question doesn't stop there. It says, okay, I have to search for my question paper. It's over here. The question says, okay, sorry about the scribble thing. It says find TV, we have done this. CC, we have yet to do. But the final consolidation settlement, we have deduced. Okay, now what about CC value? If you remember, CC value came in the equation for total settlement or the maximum settlement. Also, S max equals to CC over 1 plus E naught times H times log of say sigma 1 prime plus delta sigma prime over sigma 1 prime. Okay, we have just looked at this equation, and please we need to carefully look at this carefully. E naught is given, CC is something which we have to deduce, H is the total thickness of the layer, sigma 1 is the mean effective stress in the middle of the clay layer, original. So this uses our previous theory. The unit weight of the clay layer and the sand layer is given. Delta sigma is 200 kPa. Okay. So if you plug in your number, your CC should be 0.33. I would like you to try this at home. Okay. Please try this at home. You will get a CC of 0.333. Okay. Also, please do try the remaining part of this question as a home task, and I request that the question 3 is a nice question. Please try question 3 as well, which is on your screen. You can download question number 3. Okay. Okay, we have just touched our time. We have just touched our time. I would like to conclude today's class. If you have any questions, please keep it for next time. I request that please keep any question you have for the next time. Okay. Thank you for your patience today. Thank you. Goodbye.